That's more like it if you're an Oilers fan, and we assume that you are because you're listening to the Oil Stream post-game show right here on EST. The Edmonton Oilers 4-2 winners over the Los Angeles Kings in a much better game for the team as a whole. And we welcome you into the show, Tom Gazzola, YouTube, Trev, Matty Kassian on his way as we get set to break it all down. The Oilers get a much-needed win. Snap that 3-game winless skid and get one on this 5-game homestand in game number 4. They'll look to make it 2-2-1 on Wednesday night when they take on the St. Louis Blues. You can text us 780-218-9999, and you can also hit us up on the Nasty Chat if you're watching on the EST YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And on your way in, as one does when they arrive at someone's home for a little shindig, get-together, partay, you take off your shoes. Well, we ask you to hit that thumbs up. If you don't mind, we would certainly appreciate it. Yes, indeed. 4-2, the Oilers win it. If you're listening on your way home on iHeartRadio or the TuneIn app, we appreciate you. And then there's the old standby, our EdmontonSportsTalk.com live audio stream. Get at us in the inbox, 780-218-9999. Let's get into the scoring summary from this one and the game stats, and we'll get Cass in here. He is ready to rock and or roll in the first period. 6:45 in. Blown coverage in front of the Oilers net. Trevor Moore scores his 22nd of the season on a nice play by Quinton Byfield. Andreas Englund getting the secondary helper. And I don't know what Darnell Nurse and who was it? It was Cody Ceci on that one. I don't know what they were doing. They don't pick up Moore, and he just slots it in for the 1-0 lead for the Kings at 6:45. But it would be Zach Hyman late in the first period at 19:36 on the feed from Connor McDavid. McDavid's 69th assist of the season, Hyman's 38th goal, and that was the right play by Connor McDavid. You could hear it in the press box, people yelling, "Shoot it!" when McDavid got it. Maybe some from the Oilers brass, maybe some from the media, maybe some from the fans below, but there was a bunch of people saying, "Shoot it!" McDavid doesn't. Passes it off to Hyman. He buries it off the post and in for his 38th. 1-1 going into the second. In the middle frame, really bad sequence for Evan Bouchard. He tries to make a play on Matt Roy. Actually doesn't really. Just does a flyby. And then on the back check, doesn't get Kopitar's stick because Roy gives it to Kopitar. Kopitar to Laferriere. He tucks it home to make it 2-1 LA. 7:34 into the period. Then the Oilers would totally redeem themselves, Bouchard included. He sets up Leon Draisaitl. Actually, a nice shot pass that Draisaitl redirects home on the power play. Draisaitl's 29th of the year. Bouchard's 41st assist. Nugent Hopkins' 36th assist. 2-2, we're tied up at 15:56. That's how it would be going into the third when Bouchard buries his 15th from the point. Absolute blast. Bar down, Draisaitl the assist, McDavid the secondary assist, 3-2 Oilers, $1:25 into the third period. And then for good measure, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, his 16th of the year from Connor Brown, hello, and Matthias Janmark, hello, Janmark heater, 4-2 Oilers. They would not look back. They hang on in regulation. A big win to hold on to, third in the Pacific Division, reel in the Vegas Golden Knights a little bit and keep the Kings at bay. All in all, a good night in Oil Country. Not perfect, but pretty darn good. Good response from the team. All that stuff about the morning skate, throw it out the window. Shots on goal, 40-31 in favor of the Kings. Edmonton wins the face-off battle, 51.7% to 48.3%. Power play goes 1 for 3. PK, 2 for 2. Killed off a 5-on-3. Opportunity for the Kings. That was good. Hits 38-33 in favor of LA. Block shots 15-10 in favor of LA. Edmonton with 14 giveaways to LA 7 and 10 takeaways to LA's 8. As we welcome in our game analyst, the one and only Matt Kassian. Cass, that's a good win. That's a good win. What say you?
Yeah, good win. Didn't always look like it was going to be thus. A couple of mistakes. They were down again early, get scored on first, then they find a way to claw back. And Tommy, it all starts off with their recent Achilles heel, the penalty kill, the penalty kill, the penalty kill. Kill off that 5-on-3, 2 consecutive penalties in a row, and they get some momentum from it, Tommy, and they kind of use that to springboard themselves right back into the game. So all in all, hey, a great night to get a couple of points, to not let LA get a couple of points, and they kind of pull it back. I don't want to say from the jaws of despair, but they do a good job of overcoming some mistakes, overcoming some challenges, and pushing back to win a hockey game.
4-2, the Oilers win it. You can text us if you're just joining us, 780-218-9999, and the nasty chat. Look at that nasty chat buzzing. Hit the thumbs up button, please, and thank you on your way in. It's like visiting a pal. Take off your shoes. Same thing. Hit the thumbs up. We appreciate it very, very much. Let's go into the inbox here really quickly before we get to more from Cass. Look at the inbox. The inbox is really positive tonight. I like this. I like it a lot. All right, we're going to go to this one. From Oily6 says Stu 950. Thank you, Oily6. Rip City Step says never doubted him. This one, yeah. Right. Peter in Saskatoon, Texas says that was nothing short of fascinating. I don't remember if I've ever seen the energy in a team change so fast. Edmonton killed off the 2-man LA advantage, completely transformed back to the 16-game win streak. Oilers. Credit to Skinner for also being a big part of that surge in energy and confidence. Peter in Saskatoon with that one. Good point, because they got a lot of momentum, Cass, after that 5-on-3 kill.
Yep, huge. And that does happen. I mean, it's not shocking that you have a couple of big penalty kills, and it can actually generate momentum in your favor. And we've seen that happen against Edmonton. If they've had a power play that maybe is stagnant, maybe it was a big kill to go up an extra goal, or to maybe potentially put a game away, and the other team can build momentum off it. And this time it was Edmonton's turn to do so. I mean, I don't want to say that's the story of the game, but that kill, because if they get scored on, in that 5-on-3, or just on the ensuing 5-on-4, even if they kill off the 5-on-3 portion to it. I mean, that just crushes you. It just crushes you. We've seen, just go back a couple of days to Draisaitl taking a bad penalty and getting scored on, and it just completely takes the wind out of your sails, and the game shifts and changes. So it was a big moment. The killers came up huge. Stuart Skinner came up huge, and that just, again, completely changes the momentum of the game, and is, I don't want to say it's the only reason they won the hockey game, but it was a pretty big shift.
Yes, absolutely was. And they came out guns a-blazing after that. Confidence, momentum. Peter in Saskatoon nailed it. And you mentioned somebody there, Leon Draisaitl, goal and an assist, +1, 5 shots cast, and 1 hit, 20:05 time on ice. What would you say was the biggest difference from the way Draisaitl played tonight, where he got those results offensively, compared to the way he played the other night against Calgary, and maybe the last couple of games?
Well, just look at his intentionality stylistically. The motivation he played with, I would say, was on a different level tonight, where it looked like he was driving the play, and he was driving the play, working back into his own zone, playing hard defensively. I mean, there was no lackadaisical attitude to his game today. So, and to me, that's the big difference is he played with intentionality. And I know I love that word, and I say it way too often when they're playing well, but that's what he had, Tommy.
It's a good word. You use it and you own it well, and I'm not going to lie to you, I steal it sometimes. So that's how good it is.
You're welcome to.
I appreciate that very, very much. Let's go to Mike in Thunder Bay. Says that was a much-needed win and 2 points against the surging Kings team. They were absolutely miserable for the first half of this game, but that big PK in the second seemed to wake them up. Yep. I was sure it was going to be 3-1 at that point. Glad to see the special teams getting it together. Randy, what's Randy saying? Best team in the NHL. They will never lose again. Get your Stanley Cup futures. Like Randy stirring it up. That's our buddy Randy, who likes to point out some things. And Randy, thanks for the text. This one comes in from Eden, says, was there a game tonight? I was too focused on that all-star performance by Gene tonight, going face first into that snowbank. He sells out, that Gene Principe. You're going to always get 100% effort from Gino. Hontorio Momes says, Tommy, the crowd was getting loud when Brown had the empty net potential. Maybe we need to Philly him and be positive. That's the story for the season. All right, we're getting into like some individual performance stuff. Goaltending has come up in recent days. I'd even stretch it out to about a week and a half. Stu Skinner, 38 saves and some really good ones, some key ones on the PK. I liked his game. I wasn't too concerned, and I stand by what I said before. I think they're going to be okay. The plan is not to go out and get a goalie. A little bit of patience will go a long way. Now we see if he could continue on. What did you see from Skinner tonight that you think he'll build on?
Well, it was a steady game. I think we didn't see any of that frustration we've seen at times the last week or two, where he looked steady, looked confident, looked mentally like he was in the zone. And I think his play reflected that. Like it was a solid game from him. He's a little worried. I think the second goal where you kind of thought to yourself, okay, well, I don't think you necessarily expect him to make that save on Laferriere, but it would have been really, really nice for him to be able to save that. Would have been really nice, and kind of like, that may have been the save that they could have changed the game. But listen, he did exactly what he needed to do on the penalty kills in particular. Again, where he played solid. I thought he did a good job of controlling rebounds today, and he just steadied himself out. I wasn't. As I've taken quite a bit of flack for defending him at times and defending his play at times from some people that are like, we need to trade for 8 goalies. We need to trade for Soros and for Marc-Andre Fleury.
Of course.
And maybe a third backup option as well.
Of course.
And I haven't jumped on that train because it's just like, Stuart Skinner will be fine. Yeah. He will be fine. Their goaltending will be fine. And I think tonight showed it. But can we talk about Zach Hyman for a second?
Of course.
Because Zach Hyman's a beauty, Tommy. Just playing around the net, in front of the net, goes to the hard areas, gets rewarded for it. I mean, how do you not, just look at the way he plays and say basically what I just said and say that Hyman is an absolute beauty. I mean, it's just wonderful. Just wonderful the way, like if you are coaching kids, you have kids that are coming up that want to stylistically try to play. Very few people are going to be able to play like Connor McDavid. You can learn to play like Zach Hyman. And I hope that players like Ryan McLeod watch his success. And even today, watch what he was able to do around the net and be like, hey, if you go there and if you put the work in around the net, I mean, you're going to get points. You're going to get goals. You're going to be a huge part of the team. And Tommy, I mean, I know I joked earlier in the season, as many of us did, about the Hyman for Hart Trophy analytics discussion. But I mean, the guy has the potential of putting up 50 this year. He has continued to defy age and improve as he's gotten older. And man, just another great game from Zach Hyman.
The effort always there. That guy hustles. That was also something Draisaitl might have taken out of Hyman's book tonight, was the legs were moving. So Zach Hyman, consistency. I believe someone said it when he signed that deal. Worst contract ever, or worst contract in NHL history. There's still time. There's still time. I'm trolling.
That's a horrible take.
That was a terrible take. Okay. It is a positive night. They do get the win in regulation. We like a lot of their game. Let's look at the goals against. You said you would like to have seen a save on Laferriere. There were a couple of atrocious breakdowns before it got to Skinner. And yes, I would have liked to have seen a save too. Laferriere can score nice goals from time to time. But the first one, I don't know what Cody Ceci and Darnell Nurse were doing in front of Stu Skinner.
Yeah, they get a little bit lost again. And that's happened a couple times to that pairing. Certainly an area that they have to clean up, as I just pull it up here so I can have it in front of me.
Have a look.
While we're going through it. They get a little turned around. Tough, I think, by Derek Ryan in that too, where what complicates the situation is he gets back to the post. I mean, in an ideal world, he's winning that race.
Yeah.
Is his centerman, you can't get caught outside, you can't get caught on the wrong side of the player, and he gets caught on the wrong side of I think it was 51. I can't remember who that was, but he gets caught outside or on the wrong side, the back side, isn't able to stop a pass in the net, and it's a little bit of chaos in front of the net. And for the defenseman, and probably CC more on this play than Darnell Nurse, you can't lose a guy on the backside. I mean, you have a pile up of bodies. You have to find the dangerous people, find bodies, find sticks, and you kind of end up with two guys that are both kind of caught halfway in between on that one. And then, Stuart Skinner doesn't have much of a chance on it. Still, it was another one of those ones where like, you really wish he would have made that, because it's like he had a chance at it. But overall, a little bit of a defensive breakdown in front of the net. It was the sort out post face off. I don't think they executed cleanly. Like there was some confusion coming out of that. And again, I kind of would point to Ryan on that point, where it kind of started with that play, and then CC and Darnell Nurse in front, where there's just a little bit of a miscue for who's taking who.
Second goal by Laferriere. I'll just say Evan Bouchard with the flyby on Roy.
Oh, man.
And then misses the stick lift on the back check on Kopitar. And then it's in the back of the net. And then he totally redeems himself with a goal and an assist later.
Yep, totally redeems himself later. Yeah. But that play, that was bad. I mean, one of the fundamental rules for defensemen is you protect the middle of the ice, and he turns to the outside for, I don't know, like watching it again, like I don't know why.
It's just bad.
Just bad. Yeah, just bad. He needs to protect the middle of the ice. So it was an ugly one. But as you said, he totally redeems himself, puts up a couple points in the offensive zone. I thought he actually was pretty shaky defensively at points today, not just with that play, like just wasn't an on night for Evan Bouchard in the defensive zone. But hey, he makes up for it with getting pucks to the net, and with being a part of some huge goals and end up winning them the game. So again, not the cleanest night for him defensively, but more positives than negatives, because they win the hockey game and he's a big part of it.
Yeah. I would even say Nurse had a few moments where it wasn't particularly great, a couple of soft plays, but overall they cleaned it up and they got it together, and they managed to get an important and good 4-2 win. So there we go. We nitpicked at the goals against, and we can focus on the positives, because there are a lot that come out of a 4-2 victory over the LA Kings at a crucial moment in time when the Kings were right there behind the Oilers, actually tied with them in terms of points. And then Edmonton creates a little bit of separation and still has a game in hand. And Edmonton now all of a sudden 5-4-1 in its last 10, 1 point back of the Vegas Golden Knights, and 2 games in hand on the VGK. And I'm trying to click it to see if Vegas plays tomorrow. They do play in Toronto tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. Keeping an eye on the out-of-town scores.
I can tell you how that's going to go.
Please
Auston
do.
Matthews scoring 7 goals. So.
He will.
Yeah, at least.
MVP.
Well, for as much as I make fun of him, he might win the MVP, and he might deserve it. If he hits 70, you're gonna have a pretty hard case going giving that award to somebody else. But that's neither here nor there, and we don't need to talk about that tonight.
No, we don't. We'll go to Naughty Possum with this one. Says, great game by the men. By the way, 8 minutes left the game, and it's a 1-goal game. Is the wave necessary? Go Oilers. Might be down for Wednesday night. Hopefully it's not snowing in GP. I noted in my Padfolio that the wave started with 10:23 left on the clock. It kind of fizzled out, Cass. It started in the one corner up top, and it didn't really go. And then about a minute later, it did catch, and I was like, oh no. And I had to write it down, and I texted the group chat, and I said, wave started at 9:37 of the third period. Make a note of it. But tonight, all good.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, they didn't ruin everything, because we would have blamed that, and we would have blamed the pregame skate if LA would have came back and won.
Dustin especially would be incredibly upset. We got this one that came in. No name on it. Says, I could finally unclench for the first time all day. Expletive, to Connor Brown for the assist. I hope this brings his confidence back. He's never needed the feather to fly. He's had the ability all along. Okay. Thank you for that text. Ryan from Saskatchewan says, hard to stay up in Sask for these weeknight game, fellas, but I did, and I'm glad I did. Skinner's best game since the break. PK created the momentum swing when the game was in the balance. Some guys had strong games, others still passengers. Wouldn't mind giving Holloway a longer look with Kane and Nuge. Huge win. Ryan from Sask. I'm glad Ryan from Sask brings up Holloway because, Cass, after you had finished up Game Changers, there was a text that came in. I don't know if it was Hontorio Momes or maybe somebody else that said, what does Holloway need to do to get more of a leash and to stay up in the top 9 or even top 6 more consistently? I had my take on it. I said I was encouraged by his demeanor and his attitude, and I think the points and goals will come once he finds the nuances of the NHL game. He's 79 games into his NHL career now, Cass. But what would you say about a guy like Dylan Holloway who's just getting it figured out here?
Yeah, well, he really just is. I mean, you want to see him continue to develop that Zach Hyman type game because he has the tools to do it. He's got the speed, he's got the size. He at times plays with some of that physicality, and I think for Dylan Holloway, consistency will be the big thing. Not that he has been horribly inconsistent, but he's a young player still finding his way in the league. Just needs to continue to. He just needs to continue to find ways to impact games outside of being on the score sheet. And if he continues to do that, then at some point he'll get a little bit of a look. But realistically, when you watch him, Tommy, I mean, is he going to be a guy that plays regularly in your top 6? I don't know.
At some point,
maybe,
but not now.
Not now. Maybe could he continue to develop to be that potentially? He's not there yet. And I think, the coaching staff and management is aware that he's not there yet. And what does he need to get a little bit more leash? Well, he's slowly started to get bits and pieces more. We saw that prior to his injury where he started to play a lot better, started to get some more opportunity. Then he gets hurt. Then he comes back. And he's slowly finding his way back into there again. I don't mind and wouldn't mind seeing him with Nugent Kane. I mean, I think that could be an interesting lineup from, he brings an element of speed to that line that I think could benefit it. And you have some of the responsibility from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and another guy that likes to play around the net in Evander Kane. So would I mind seeing a little bit more of that? No, absolutely not. Are they just going to hand it to him? No, because he hasn't outright just demanded with his play that time. Now, again, development wise, he could continue to take steps forward, but still from an overall organizational standpoint, I still think they would rather look outside the organization at this time to find someone that might slot into that position before Dylan Holloway. And it's probably the right decision. Now, again, long-term, different story, but for right now, he's not quite there yet.
In time, it'll come. He keeps playing the way he does, and I think he'll figure it out too, Cass. Well explained, for sure. Library Pat texts in and says, "High event game from Bouchard. Thankfully, more good than stinky. Skinner was good. Draisaitl wasn't selfish. A workman like 2 points." Library Pat. Hampton Steve says, "Big win, Tommy. The last 2 losses were on me as I was away in Vancouver at Rugby Sevens and unable to watch. Back tonight, and they win. Coincidence?" Hampton Steve, welcome back. And I think Oil Country would be happy about that. Into the nasty chat. This one says, from John Cuppers, "Continue the revenge tour against St. Louis on Wednesday." Yep. This one from Jay says, "Hey, Cass, what are your thoughts on Holland trading this year to build a solid second line to keep the big line together? Maybe go get a solid second line center and have Nuge pair with that player." Cass, that's to you from Jay.
Hey, if you can do it, I think your second line center, it's probably going to be a little bit tougher to get than a winger from a team, and probably more expensive than getting a winger. But to say, to find a second line winger that you could slot in so you could keep that top line together. Well, yeah, I think that's one of the things that they're interested in. And one of the things that Ken Holland has on his shopping list, as it were. So would they like to do that? Yes. Might be easier to bring in that third line center rather than a second line center. If you're set on having someone in a center position, ideally someone that's a right shot that plays on that third line, that can play consistent defensively, take some draws, a good centerman. That's probably from a centerman standpoint what you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you can bring in a top 6 winger, I'm sure they'll do it. I still would have that depth defenseman as being a higher priority to me than that. But I would kind of have it even. That depth defenseman priority number one, number 2 and 3, which are pretty on par. I'd kind of have them about equal. Would be either that third line center, if possible, or a top 6 winger, which you could slot into that second line position. So it's a good question, Jay Moore. So thanks for asking. X-Ray J, also on the nasty chat, he's a big fan of the Wave. X-Ray J, so he says it got in the heads of the Los Angeles Kings, and basically we have that to thank for the win. If there's no Wave, there's no win. That's what he's implying. So X-Ray J, big fan of the Wave.
Having met X-Ray J last week, I could tell he's a big fan of the Wave and a good time.
Big Wave guy. Yeah,
big Wave guy. Yeah, he likes to enjoy his Oiler games the most fun possible. And I can see the Wave being a part of that for X-Ray J. All right, let's get to a few more texts, and then we'll get Cass to tee up Wednesday's game against St. Louis. I believe someone in the nasty chat called it the Revenge Tour. I like that because they had a terrible game in St. Louis a couple weeks ago. Shaggy in St. Albert with this text says, from Shaggy in St. Albert, glad they won, but defense still has big lapses and should have shown more killer instinct on those late Oilers power plays. Donnie M says, Tommy, can you believe that the Kings only allow 1 power play per game or less? Unreal. How do they do it? Donnie M. Cass, why do you think the Kings are so disciplined?
Well, they are. They just are. Not a lot of horizontal stick penalties from that team. Like they check hard and they check well. They have a big focus on playing good defense. The 1-3-1 helps where because they put themselves in a less at time. I mean, they try to pressure Edmonton's defensemen quite aggressively, but when they don't have the opportunity to do so, they do like to sit back. And against a lot of teams, they'll just kind of sit in that 1-3-1, which generally means you're not taking penalties because you don't have too many odd man rushes against. You're not hooking guys in the way back because you just gave them an opportunity. Second to that is they play a really tight ship in the defensive zone. They collapse well to the front of the net, and same thing. You're not having to cross check someone to stop them or hook someone to stop them from having a backdoor tap in because you're not giving up too many of those opportunities. So they just play. It's just stylistically, they just have a team that doesn't, and even from not just stylistically, but from let's call it a team identity standpoint, that's one of the things that they pride themselves in is, hey, don't take bad penalties. Don't take hooking calls. Don't take unnecessary tripping calls. And they just play a very disciplined game. They do. I mean, I don't think it's the refs being partial to LA. I don't think it's the refs over favoring LA. I think they just do a really good job of not taking stick infractions, which you can do as a team. If you play the right way positionally, you can cut down a significant amount on the number of penalties you take. And LA is a prime example of that.
Really quickly, the Kings, I looked it up, 8.4 penalty minutes per game. I mean, that obviously includes majors. In terms of minor penalties this season, they have taken 191. That is tied with Columbus. That puts them at 12th. St. Louis is the least penalized team at 164 minors. And Vegas is there. Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Toronto, Dallas, Islanders, Caps, Hawks, Rangers, then the Kings. So
yeah. Well, generally, I mean, if you look at that list, and not for all of them, but for it's not surprising to see the higher end teams on there, teams that play with good puck possession, because when you have the puck, you're less likely to take a penalty. So yeah, your Winnipegs and your Dallases and Vegas as well. Some of your higher end teams are teams that are good teams. Not that surprising that they're up there. I actually thought LA was a little bit lower on the list, so I thought they were lower than that. But when you look at those other teams, and St. Louis would be an example as well of a team that plays just that structured, try to slow you down type of game by being in the lane, not by hooking and holding you, but by being positionally in the right spot defensively and playing from their end out first. That's I would say more conducive to taking less penalties.
Yeah. Passive system. Yeah. That's how I'd sum it up. And
a passive collapse system where it's like you really, really focus on protecting the middle of the ice, which again means you're not chasing as much. You're not scrambling around your net as much, which is a lot of the times where you take penalties.
Kaiser says, I saw the wave and I saw it start. And let me say, Tom, it made my blood boil. You and Dusty Nielsen, Kaiser. You and Dusty Nielsen for sure. EA says, Tommy, need more resilient wins like that consistently. Credit to Skinner tonight. Credit to the PK, killing the two-man advantage. Turn the tide tonight. Going to need to replicate it against St. Louis. That text from EA. And speaking of EA and his text, Cass, he points out St. Louis coming up. We watched the Oilers lay an absolute egg on the 15th, losing 6-3 in St. Louis. What do you want to see? How do they prepare for Wednesday night against the St. Louis Blues to try to get a bit of vengeance on them after that 6-3 loss?
Well, the nice thing is that you're playing teams one after another that kind of play the same or similar frustrating styles at times, where I think St. Louis kind of does that same thing to Edmonton. So you're kind of looking at it and you are going like, hey, we have to play the same way we maybe not started the game against LA, but the way we finished it, that second period, and that third period as well. Where we have to go out and we have to play that same sort of way. I mean, it's you're not going to reinvent it. You're not going to reinvent what you're trying to do. It's like, no, we can play the same way. I mean, you're looking at guys like Leon Draisaitl and saying that, we need to get that same kind of work effort. We need to get that same kind of dedication, the legs moving that we saw. And then we need to have that same third period finish that we had against LA, where it's just like, no, we did batten down the hatches. We ended up getting scoring opportunities while doing that. And we protected our end, protected our net. And guess what, Tommy? Didn't have very many turnovers in the third period. So just taking that same mentality into it.
Let's see if they can do that, Cass. Wednesday night, St. Louis Blues. We are live on location at Hudson's White Avenue. Cass, if you'll be so inclined, I've always got the second headset waiting for anybody that wants to hop on. Gager showed up the other night, and I said, you coming on? And he's like, no, give me a beer, he said. I said, fine. For you, anything. But Cass, great work as always, my friend. Hopefully see you in person on Wednesday, and if not, I look forward to talking to you this way via the screen and over the microphone.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. I look forward to it.
That is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping break down the Oilers' 4-2 win over the Los Angeles Kings. An important win, a good win, not a perfect win, but a pretty satisfying victory. If you're a fan of the Edmonton Oilers, you can keep the text coming in, 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on YouTube, Nasty Chat going strong, doing its thing. Cass getting into the Nasty Chat. I think Dusty was in there earlier, and all the usual suspects, and some new ones that I saw getting in there as well. Hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate it very, very much. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. Let's get that little bugger on here. Where's YouTube Trev? Where you at, buddy?
What's up, Tommy? How we doing?
Get on. Put yourself on screen. Come on now.
Oh, wait. I keep messing this part up. Wait,
Why
one
do you
second.
keep messing this up?
Okay, there we are. Boom. Let's go.
There he is. All right.
How's it going?
We haven't heard from you yet this show. What did you think tonight?
Yeah, it was. It's crazy what one game can do, Tommy. Like the last game, the sky was falling, is the saying, and all it takes is one game. And you look at the nasties; they're not being really nasty right now. It's the joys are high. Everything looks and I mean, it's so funny because this team can play good, but they go on a stretch and they play bad, and so you're like, oh no, this is it's terrible, but all it takes is one game, and the Oilers can play good. It's just for whatever reason they have. It's so interesting, and I don't know why. I don't know if anyone knows why, but it's a roller coaster. It's up and down. But tonight it was a solid W for the Oilers. I'm very surprised. Honestly, I wasn't expecting a win, but they got it done. The power play looked pretty good. I think a lot better as of late. I think, at least in my opinion, penalty kill, the 5-on-3 kill, that was huge. I didn't mind RNH, Janmark, and Kane. I thought they were okay. First line obviously was really good, but. Yeah, Holloway was sweet. I will say the Connor Brown setup to Nuge, easily the best play, the best anything that Connor Brown's done all season long. I was actually like, oh, that was not a bad play. So it was nice to see that. Will that carry over the next game? I don't think so, but it was good to see. It was good to see. And then Stuart Skinner, like I said, like it's one game is all it takes, and he looked way better. The team in front of him looked way better, and this is a really good team. The Los Angeles Kings, they brought it to him the last time they played, right, with the shutout, and the Oilers got it done tonight. So it's like you gotta go into the locker room with your head held high. Like that's a really good team that they just beat. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the Oilers' performance tonight, and they look to carry it on against the St. Louis Blues.
Nicely done, YouTube, Trev. Nicely done. How are we doing for clips? Anything?
I've got Nuge ready. I've got Bouchard and Ekholm ready.
Okay. Well, let me read a couple of texts, and then we'll toss to Nugent Hopkins. Let's go to Reno. Reno says, Cass just described Brown's game. His game works, but doesn't include putting up points. That was a little bit earlier in the show. Connor says, I enjoyed the game. Can I get some thoughts on the physical play? When McLeod and Holloway and Kane and even McDavid are using their body and not flying by, they are much more effective. That's from Connor. McLeod finished a couple of checks, was a pleasant surprise. They weren't thundering by any means, but I think the intent is good and actually doing it is good. McDavid, I think he leads Oilers forwards in hits this year, so he's kind of done that all season long. And then Kane, when he's physical and engaged, is always a good sign. So you like to see that. I'm going to go to the Oilers stats and see where they are at when it comes to hits overall. I'm pretty sure McDavid's right up there. I think he's second on the team. I need to get to...
Yeah, McDavid for forwards is second behind Kane.
Okay, Kane leads the team. Is he second on the team or just among forwards?
I think it's among forwards, just among forwards.
Okay, I'm looking up.
Might have to fact check that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
I'm going on the website and I'm looking at it here and I'm like, where do I have to go? Because it's not just in the regular category. It's I think it's in the splits, I believe.
But it is impressive. Like this is I think it was 2 years ago when the Oilers went to the Western Finals. That was like the first time Connor was really laying the body, and it brought a new level to his game. Like a lot of Oilers fans never really seen that before, and he kind of saved it for playoffs again last year. He wasn't really too physical. Yeah. He brought it in the playoffs again, but this year, as far as hits goes, he's definitely his most physical season for sure.
I found it. It's in real time, not splits, and Kane leads the way for the entire team, 187 hits after tonight. Nurse at 112 is second. Ekholm third on the team at 105, and then McDavid second among forwards, fourth on the team at 86 hits, and right behind him is one Vincent Desharnais. And then do you want to take a guess, Trev, who's behind Desharnais in hits?
Is it a forward?
It's a forward.
Oh, geez.
He's not on the team right now.
Oh, Ernie?
Ernie, 67. Then Fogle, Holloway, Hyman, CC, Bouchard, Kulak, Janmark, Nugent Hopkins, Derek Ryan, Draisaitl with 33, Connor Brown with 20, Gagne with 17, Hamblin with 14, Lovewa with 13, Perry with 10 in 12 games, Broberg with 4, and Phil Kemp played all of 2 minutes, so he did not register a hit. I just went through the whole list. There we go. Now we know. Let's go inside the Oilers locker room. And who do we hear from first? Up to you, Trev.
Yeah, let's go to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Here he is.
I had to maybe stay a little patient to have that one come around for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's usually the way it goes against this team. It's probably good timing, just the way our game was kind of trending lately. To have a game where you have to play simple, you have to stay in it the whole 60, and I thought we did a great job of that.
First period really important, Ryan. You just didn't give up a lot after giving up more than you'd like the last few games.
Yeah, I mean, they got one. It's going to happen. Other teams are going to score. It's just how we respond. And obviously a huge one by Himes there to finish off the first period. And we just kind of kept going, and we didn't have any lull. And then obviously a huge 5-on-3 kill. 2 massive saves by Skinsey to kind of probably, I mean, it could be a game saver. I mean, you never know.
That really seemed to change the momentum, though, because you kill both off, the crowd gets into it, and right after that, you guys kind of controlled the rest of the period.
Yeah, it definitely gives us some life too. 5-on-3s they're tough to kill off. You need some big saves, you need some big plays, and then you gotta make sure that you're coming back at them after that. And I thought we did a great job of that.
How about that feed from Connor there on the give and go? It was pretty.
It was great. I mean, I just tried to drop it to him, and he saw me open, and he's really patient with the puck and can make some great plays. So it kind of just, I think it just hit my skate and went in. He just directed it in.
Ryan, what's it like when they're so passive, LA? Hardly forecheck at all, they just clog up the zone.
Yeah, I mean, we've played them enough. We know the way that they play, and we obviously have a plan for that. And it's a patient game. You have to be able to stick in it the whole 60, not get frustrated. I thought we did a great job of that tonight.
At the state that your team is in, trying to play 60 minutes, trying to solidify a defensive game, play a little more consistency, was that a good opponent tonight? Was that an opponent that's going to make you do all those things?
Yeah, I definitely think it was a good time for a game like this. Just to like you said, just to simplify our game. You have to play a full 60. You really can't turn the puck over, else they'll make you pay. And so, I mean, just kind of the way that we were trending a little bit. We wanted to simplify our game a lot. We talk about it all the time in here, and I thought tonight we had to do it, and we did a good job of it.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins picking up a goal, and the team, yes, that is a good win, and a little bit of a hop in their step after that one, and we'll see if that can carry over into the game on Wednesday against St. Louis. The Nuge, 2 points tonight, picked up an assist as well, +1, 2 shots, and also had 2 hits, 18:49 time on ice. So even Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets in on the action with the physical play. 64%, 64.7, I should say, to be exact, on the faceoff dot. That's a good night from your second line center tonight. Not always the second line center, but they went with the nuclear option on the top line. Nugent-Hopkins centering the second line. It worked. It was good. Tonight, it was good. All right, Trev, where are we going next?
With 1 goal and 1 assist tonight, here is Evan Bouchard.
Bushbaum again. You're also a great passer there. What did you see on that play that made you decide to shoot it?
I mean, they're kind of taking the flanks away. And the pass to Leo, I guess, was open in the slot, and yeah, he had a great tip.
Do you pay attention to the amount of goals you have on the season? You're now tied for first in the NHL with Mackenzie Weegar for the lead for defensemen.
No, not really. You kind of just go out and play. You don't really care too much about the stats.
Evan, Matthias was talking about how you're not too hard on yourself, that he doesn't want you to, if you make a bad play like on that read, that you shake it off. How do you go into it now, and what did you see on that read, and I guess how did you shake it off after?
Obviously, I thought I can close on him, right? Obviously, it didn't happen, but I thought we had back pressure, but like you said, you got to shake it off, and it was a lot more time to play.
You managed late in the game to make a huge difference. Was there a time, Evan, where maybe you wouldn't have been able to shake that off quite as easy, where it might have bothered you a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. There's confidence that plays a part in it, but I think the way that I play, you kind of have to pick and choose your spots a little better. That one, obviously, tough read, but we got it back, and we got the 2 points.
You guys are always looking at new plays in the power play. We haven't really seen that high tip very often. Is that something you guys have been talking about? Did you see it against their PK, or did it just something that it was just there? Man,
Yeah, it was kind of something that was just there. Like I said, they took the flanks away, left the middle open. Leo made a great tip.
So this whole season's kind of predicated on getting you guys ready for the playoffs, and it was a little wonky for the last 4 or 5 games, but this was a playoff game, and you guys were, answered the bell and kind of delivered the kind of hockey you want to play later on. Is that kind of uplifting?
Yeah, I think we got to have a little better start to us, but against those guys, you got to be patient, and they're a team that we've seen a lot of the past few seasons. The divisional games are always big, so that was a good win for us.
What do you think about Stuart? Can you talk about Stuart Skinner's game tonight and just the importance that he wanted a bounce-back game and he got one?
Yeah, he was incredible for us. He has been for a long time. When he plays like that, it's hard to score on him, and it gives us that much more confidence.
And when the wave happened for about 2.5 consecutive minutes there for a while. I don't really see that very often. Do players notice that in the middle of the game, where the crowd's just continually doing a wave that long?
Yeah, you kind of wonder what's going on, whether it's something on the Jumbotron or what's going on. But Edmonton fans, they're great. They pick us up, lift us up, and it was cool to see.
Yep, he also noticed the wave at the 9:37 mark of the third period and didn't come with the curse tonight. Let's just put it that way. The Oilers get the job done. 4-2 winners over the LA Kings. Evan Bouchard a goal and an assist. Yes, he said he thought he could close better on Matt Roy on that Kings second goal. Flyby, misses the back check on Kopitar to Laferriere. He scores, but Bouchard comes back, sets up Draisaitl with the nice shot pass. Interesting to note that that's not something that they had pre-planned. He just instinctually saw it, made the play. Draisaitl the finish. He also had a good night, Draisaitl. Much better than the performance against Calgary, certainly against Minnesota. And then Bouchard with a nice slapper that ends up being the game-winning goal. Okay, we're going to go back inside the Oilers locker room one more time. Trev, who is up next?
Yeah, we just heard from Bouch. Let's go to his partner. This is Matthias Ekholm.
To win it the way you did, getting back to that stuff that was working for you during this.
I think so. I think this is more the recipe that we're looking for. I thought the third was outstanding from our group. I thought we were patient. I thought we played really poised when we had to. I thought we played good defense. I thought we, obviously it's nice to get that goal early, kind of get them out of their structure a little bit and knowing that they got to go a little bit. But I thought we handled it really well, and I thought as a 60-minute game, and we haven't had maybe too many of them as of late. This was as close as we have gotten in the last, 10 games or so.
Evan Bouchard, just a huge goal there. There was also a pretty big error earlier on in the game too. You know him well. How hard is he on himself when those things happen? But how clutch was that for him to turn it back the other way?
I honestly don't think he is hard on himself, and I don't think he should be either, because he does all these plays, and he more often than not, he is on the scale of giving us the good stuff. There's going to be hiccups, and there's going to be some reads where it doesn't pan out, but I think he's been really good at weighing those situations, and obviously when they happen, just put them in your backpack, try to learn from them, but don't make them affect the way you play, because if they do, and I've played with some high-end offensive defensemen, and I know if you start getting down on yourself, you're going to take yourself out of the game, and he didn't. He came back, and he got us that big goal. So I think he's had an awesome year, and he's a great player.
You have a pretty good shot yourself, but Bouchard's now up to 15 goals, and he scores a lot of them from the blue line. There's not many guys who consistently score from the blue line. Talk about a shot, maybe what impresses you the most about it.
I think the accuracy is the thing that stands out. Obviously, he can really get velocity on him, and obviously he shoots it really hard. But I do think, you look at the goal tonight, like it's the top corner that are picked, right? Like that's where he puts them, and I think that's really what stands out. It seems effortless, but every time he gets an opportunity, he goes for the top corner, and he usually hits them. So I think the accuracy is the thing that stands out for me.
Yes, you're a team that was looking to play 60 minutes. A team's looking to maybe play a little simpler. Were the LA Kings the perfect opponent? Because you have to play that certain way to beat them the way they play the game.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the game that they present is for us to be patient. I think we, as soon as you get, out on your own and trying to dangle through, it's hard to get through that neutral zone, and they usually break it up and come the other way. So for us to stick to our game plan, I thought we did a really good job tonight doing that, and obviously we also limited chances against, because they know how we play. We know how they play at this point. We've played them a ton. So for that reason, I think it was a great timing to have them come into our building.
T.S. Connor hasn't scored in a while, but he's put up points almost every night. The last 10 games or so. What do you see from him? Even though he hasn't scored, he's got 23 assists in that span.
I saw that today, and I was like, I thought he had scored for sure. I think he's just that impactful anyways. It doesn't really matter whether he gets the goal or the assist. He's usually the one that sets it up, or usually the one that does it for us. So to me, to see that he hadn't scored in a while was kind of shocking, because I think he's been great. I think he's obviously our leader in here, and he shows it every night. He leads by example. Just you've been even more impressed with his defensive detail this year. So I think he's playing a great game, and we just want to have him keep going, scoring goals or not. He's playing great.
There's a well-spoken Viking, Matthias Ekholm, +1 on the night. Ekholm also had a shot, 3 hits, 23-32 time on ice. Let's get to a few text messages before we get to Chris Knobloch. Mike from Calgary says, Tommy, that was a great game tonight. My wife is watching for the first time. She says you look like Colin Jost from SNL, and also didn't think I would read that on the air. Mike from Calgary and Mike from Calgary's wife, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I like Colin Jost, and thanks for watching, and I hope you watch again. Mike from Calgary and his wife. Love it. John of St. Albert says, what does this win mean for the playoffs? John of St. Albert, well, it is a good sign that they could play a good game in an important night like tonight against a team that's right there trying to force you out of the top 3 and has been a thorn in your side, even though you've beaten them in the playoffs the last 2 years. I just think that that's a satisfying victory at an important time. And if they can continue to show up for games like this, I think that would be a good indicator that they're capable of doing it in the postseason. Still a lot of hockey left to be played, but let's say that that's a good sign in terms of that. Let's go to a couple more texts here, and then we'll get into Chris Knobloch. I'll go into the nasty chat. Spetsy 5 cents, he says, Skinner was good tonight, too. I've seen some people pointing out that Skinner was really good. X-Ray J said Skinner won this game. First goal. I was worried, but Stu stepped up, secured the win despite the defensive miscues in front of him. Oilers seem to struggle passing. All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room. Trev, let's get to Chris Knobloch.
Second period, that 5-on-3 penalty kill came up huge with a few saves. Just some thoughts on his play tonight.
That was the difference of the game. The turning point, we're down 2-1, and we don't get a kill there. We're down 2. It makes it really difficult to come back. Skins made some big saves, and our guys made some big plays on that kill, and then we were able to obviously score a power play goal shortly after that.
Evan Bouchard had a tough play on that second LA goal there, back in the third period, the wire home of his patented Bouch bombs. What does that say about his game to be able to forget a play like that and come back with a big goal like that?
Yeah, it was the wrong play, but it's a really difficult play. You're standing, you don't have momentum to have a gap, and they have so much speed, and it's a tough one to play. And he made a little mistake there, but he made a lot of good plays tonight, and it didn't bother him too much, and it was nice to see.
Is that the key you want to see from your guys? Mistakes happen, but didn't seem to phase him at all, right? And he came up huge with the assist and then the goal.
The game's about mistakes. There's mistakes all the time, and there's never one played a perfect game as good as somebody is. You could dissect it and say, oh, he should have been doing this or should have did that. They're going to happen, and if we dwell on it, it's only going to make their game worse. It's going to make the team's game worse. We have to put it behind ourselves, and obviously if it's happening over and over and there's a problem, we have to address it, but mistakes happen. You have to be able to move on.
You didn't give up a lot all game, Coach, but the game really changed on your penalty kill in the second period. The back-to-back kills, 24 seconds on the 5-on-3, and just after that, you really seemed to take over the game. Kind of a unique way to get the momentum on your side.
Momentum changers. That was an opportunity for them to maybe put the game away or make it a little more difficult for us to come behind. And as for the bench, it just gives us a lot of energy. You've got guys making huge plays, Skins making big saves, and then you've got, after that penalty kill, you've got some pretty good players coming out after that to build some momentum.
Just maybe a thought on the last minute and a half or so. You've got a lead, but you're trying to kill it off, and just your decisions with the forwards, who you wanted out there, kind of what the thought process was.
Well, Ryan definitely tonight taking the face-offs. He was dynamite all night, won a lot of big face-offs. I believe won one on the PK 5-on-3, but our numbers said that he was our best draw man, so he was going to be doing that. And 5-on-3, the biggest thing is getting pucks out. That's usually where the mistakes are happening. That's where it lead to goals again. So you want the guys who are good with the pucks, good on the walls, and then you also want defensively responsible guys. So there's a balance on, usually that's a role for your penalty killers. but it's also, you got to have some skill to get the pucks and make that next play.
This question is from Cam Tate. He noticed that this morning you had a chat with Leon Draisaitl just outside the blue line, and if that had any bearing on his scoring play tonight and what you thought of his night.
Well, I'd like to say I took credit for drawing up that play for him, but no, I didn't. I thought Leon played really well tonight. Goal and assist, and a lot of good defensive plays, breaking up plays on the back check, and yeah, that's more of what we like.
Your team's been searching to play a 60-minute game lately and searching to find that defensive posture. Were the way the Kings play, you got to be patient and you got to be responsible. Were they a good opponent for you tonight for what you guys were trying to accomplish?
Good teams do that. They're able to play a good structured game, make it tough for you to score goals, never out of position too much. Yeah, I think it is good for us to have a victory against a quality opponent, and especially a team that we're tied with going into the night. Yeah,
something to, you see this as something to build off of after, you've been up and down. This is the best game you played in some time. Can you, whatever a coach does to make this last, figure out what to do?
Well, we want to have some, build some momentum. I think one thing we talked about before the game was, we're trying to find, we're mixing up the lines quite a bit, and I think that takes away a lot of the players' identities, where they are in the lineup. Are they playing in top six? Are they bottom six? And ultimately, we got guys trying out for a position higher and auditioning for that, to say. And, I think it takes away the guys building something together, line some chemistry. And we wanted to go into the game, not change things if we didn't have to. And, fortunately, I thought all four lines played really good, really solid. So it was never even crossed my mind to switch up anything.
All right, there's Chris Knobloch. Maybe a hint at what we're going to see Wednesday night against the St. Louis Blues. Will he keep the lines intact? Kind of sounds like it there. And he wants to see chemistry continue to build. Good way to do that, and he said it himself, is when players play together consistently, and he admitted about the blender getting out, trying to spark the team. Well, I think today was a good building block, and sounds like he is of that mind as well. 4-2, the Oilers win it over the LA Kings. We need to get to some business now, and that, of course, is the Damon Bunting RE/MAX Elite Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. There's the kid, YouTube Trev. He's ready to unload the Damon Bunting RE/MAX Elite Player of the Game. Take it away, Trev.
Okay, so there you could go a few ways with this, but no, I think it's fairly obvious. Just
is it?
Well, yeah, no, maybe not, Tommy. Yeah, you think so? Okay. So last game, Leon Draisaitl, it was probably one of his worst games in recent memory. He just looked terrible, and he was not terrible tonight. He came out, he was playing. I talked about it in the pregame show. If something doesn't go right within the first period, he just, you see that he's that attitude that he has, the sassiness that he has. He just, and it wasn't there. Like he was back checking in the last 10 minutes of the game, and if you get that Leon Draisaitl, this team's going to be so much better. And I think Dusty chimed in on the Nasty Chat saying, if you get this Leon Draisaitl, doing what he did tonight, but playing on his own wing, that is a game changer for the Edmonton Oilers. So Leon Draisaitl, he got a goal tonight, beauty tip. He got an apple as well. He was +1, and one of his best games as of late. So Leon Draisaitl, really good game, and hopefully Oilers fans, you get a lot more out of Leon going into, I guess, the latter half of the season here, because when he's hot, I mean, he's a top 3 player in the world. He can be that, and we've seen it for the last 4, 5, 6 years, right? And so he just needs to. He's kind of had a weird year. It seems like when the goings are tough, he's just, I don't know. There's something about it this year. But His effort was there tonight, and as long as he's not, like, if he's not producing, if the effort's there, Tommy, I think a lot of more Oilers fans would be happy. But sometimes the effort's not there. But tonight he produced a little bit and he had the effort, so he is the Damon Bunting Player of the Game. Good job, Leo.
Nicely done, YTT. And the big man had the motor running all night long. Good to see him bounce back. And we were kind of thinking that he would be back with a big performance, and that ended up being the case. So that was the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game, picked by YouTube Trev, Leon Draisaitl. Good job, pal.
Thank you, Tommy. I really appreciate that.
That was the dorkiest smile I've ever seen. But well played, YTT. Well played. All right, we're gonna get to a couple texts before we wrap things up. Byron says, "Hey boys, big win, nice way to start the week, and it was Gene Principe's birthday. The big line was rolling. I think Draisaitl brought some jump to his game. What can you say about Zach Hyman? He is a workhorse out with the finish. Nuge had a solid night in the faceoff dot. Not sure why or what he finished at. I still think 97 and 29 should be running their own line, but it did work tonight." Byron from Winnipeg. And I was just looking at the faceoff summary, and Chris Knobloch was saying that Derek Ryan, by their stats, was their strongest faceoff guy tonight. And Ryan ended up at 50% on the dot, 5 for 10. He was 5 on 5 in the offensive zone, 1 for 1. 5 on 5 in the D zone, 3 for 7, which is 43%. And then 4 on 5. So on the kill, he was 1 for 2. Maybe it was because he was on his strong side for that late draw. I can't remember. And then, like Byron was saying, Nugent Hopkins finished with a good night on the dot, 11 for 17, 65%. He was Edmonton's best faceoff man on the night. So there's your your faceoff breakdown, defensive and offensive zone. Byron, appreciate that. Also, thank you for bringing up Uncle Gene's birthday. I just sent him a text. Happy birthday, Paisan. Love ya. And he was a beauty. He was shoveling snow on the broadcast all night. What a guy. Even shoveling snow at Rogers Place for all the fine staff that work hard, keep it up and running and keep it nice and clean and keep those walkways safe. They had the tractors out there and the Bobcats with the sweeper, and then the put the bucket on it all day long in the ice district. I had to go by there a couple of times, and they probably had to gas it up like 5 times today. It was going all day long, and making sure people can get it in and out of there safely. Always appreciated. Okay, let's go to this one from RBM, who says, "Do you think Kyle Clifford would be an upgrade in the bottom 6? I understand he's in the minors with the laughs right now." Excellent use of laughs. But he's 33, not 37, 38, 39. I think he's been a regular on the PK in his career. Acquisition cost would be practically nothing. Seemed like a decent, smart player and adds some toughness too as well. Yeah, RBM, like, I don't think, like, that would be a diamond in the rough or like outside the box type of signing or trade, pardon me. Just going over what I know from years past, generally, like, if a guy's left in the minors, there's not a lot of desire for a player like that, even though they have a long history in the NHL, unless they've been scouting him and unless they're 100% sure he could slide in at the right price point, of course, and be effective every 4th game or something like that. But my feeling is they would be leaning towards someone who is in the NHL right now. And if I'm not mistaken, Clifford is a left shot guy. I think they'd like a right shot D-man. But if you're just looking to solidify the defensive core and you want a 7 D-man who's a veteran, maybe down the line and down the list, he's a guy you look at. But that's an interesting one. Appreciate that, RBM. I think they'll probably look elsewhere, but I could be wrong. Justin texts in and says, "Tommy, I was at the game with the boy. Just win, baby. We had to stay till the 0 because he was certain Brown was getting an empty netter. Justin, I love it. I hope the boy had a great time. I'm sure he did. Great atmosphere in the building with a very solid Oilers victory. X-Ray Che in the nasty chat says, believe it or not, I stayed committed and focused all game. Not a single beer at Casa X-Rays. We'll see how Wednesday goes. X-Ray J, nicely done. Nicely done. And Taves to Kane says, no, Clifford is old. John says, another great show. Have a great night, everyone. John, thank you very, very much. That's going to do it for the Oil Stream post-game show. The Oilers win at 4-2 over the LA Kings. That's a good victory. Let's see if they can carry a little bit of momentum into Wednesday, where they're going to look to atone for that 6-3 loss to St. Louis in St. Louis on the 15th. They're going to need a much better performance than what we saw on the 15th. Something like tonight. Maybe it leads to another win and a nice way to wrap up the homestand and the month of February. That's going to do it. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in. Big thank you to everyone who texted in. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do. And subscribe to our EST YouTube channel. We appreciate it very, very much. The Oilers get the 4-2 victory. For YouTube, Trev and Matty Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay warm. Drive safe. Talk to you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.